And we're back on Fresh Waves. We're talking with Jolana Pettifer of Jolana's Exceptional Home Decor. She's been in decorating since, what,
Oh
you
my
were two?
gosh, hang on. Yeah, I think I was 2. How old is Braden? 29 years.
Wow.
And then I was also in it after that, or before that, managing a design firm. So yeah,
you've
I've been in it
design
for a
long
while.
time. Now, why did you ever get into design?
That's an awesome question because I wanted to actually go into fashion.
Okay.
So I love working with colors, textures, design, but I found out very quickly it's a very, very difficult world unless you know people to make inroads.
I think any profession is. You can say that about any profession.
Yeah, but I think I had very high hopes and I learned very quickly unless you knew the right people. It was going to be an uphill battle. So going into design was a natural progression for me because I could still work with colors and textures and of course designing. I could design all kinds of things from sofas to window treatments to floor designs to porcelain flooring to, I mean, you name it. So truthfully, this is where I was meant to be. And I am ever so thankful that I had someone a long time ago say, why are you in fashion? So there we go. Mentors, they can be an amazing thing.
Right. If you listen to them, you could have just said, watch me go in fashion and kind of fought with it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I could have. And listen, there's been a lot of very successful people that have gone into fashion. But I think I
found your niche.
I did find my niche and I love it. I eat, breathe, and sleep it every single day. And to me, there's no greater feeling than that.
Yeah. When you feel like you've never gone to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Although you work really hard.
There are days. Trust me, there are days where I go, but for the most part, absolutely.
Are you doing the Home for Christmas tour this year?
Not this year. I'm actually taking a break this year. I've been doing it between Uxbridge and Stouffville. I've been doing it for 12 years. And we have a lot of projects that I have committed to. And I just felt this year it was time to just maybe take a break for a year. So,
that's a good thing.
It is
to take a break and to know
it is good.
Know your limits, play within it, that kind of thing.
I mean, we still decorate 14 homes for Christmas, so just not for the Stouffville Christmas home tour this year.
Well, it's good to let the young pups get a chance to decorate those houses.
And it's so exciting and so much fun. I know they're going to love it and do amazingly well. So.
Yeah, they will. And if they need any help, you're always there anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so back to our summer renovation project. We've talked about the flooring now. You've ripped out the flooring, put in something new and exciting. And that's a pretty big project. Windows, again, would be a big project. And don't save your windows till January. It's just not the right time to do your windows. Not in this country, anyway.
No. I mean, they do it. They're very fast. They're very quick at doing it. But no, I would not recommend it either. I mean, why would you choose to do it when it's freezing cold out when you can do it from spring till late fall? Right? Yeah. So, again.
Well, let's talk a bit about fireplaces, because I know that people think about fireplaces in December.
Yes.
And you actually need to start thinking about your fireplace now, because again, if there's brickwork to be done, it's better to do it in the warmer weather than having them tent your roof and, put blowers on the roof and all this kind of stuff while they do brickwork. So, what are we looking at? Sometimes in the 80s, there were fireplaces, and some of those fireplaces haven't been used in years. Do we keep them? Do we get rid of them?
Well, again, this is where you need to have an inspector go and check how safe they are. And that's not to say that it wasn't built properly, but if it hasn't been maintained, if it hasn't been kept up, you need to be very, very careful.
If they painted it white and filled it with flowers, which is so 1980s, chances are you need it to be inspected before you just throw some logs in there and
you don't want to just decide it's okay to do that. Yeah. And if you are in the throes of renovating and you do want to create a gas fireplace, which most people today, not to say that real ones are not amazing, they are. However, gas, you flick a switch and it turns on and it greets you and the heat starts immediately. So it's a great idea to start looking for different options. So if you're a more modern home, you may want to have your fireplace up a little bit higher, go with the more linear look. If you're still a traditionalist and you want the on the floor with a beautiful mantle, just look at your options, because today they have what's called frameless inserts. Years ago, they used to have the really, really heavy frames, if you remember, and the venting and everything. So now they've gone to what's called a frameless. So the majority of what you see is the actual fire, which is wonderful, as opposed to the very big, bulky trim detailing that used to go around it. So there's so many options. Again, Pinterest, simply Googling if you're modern gas fireplaces, get some ideas. And then once you've got your ideas together, either call someone like myself or a contractor and say, okay, this is what we would like to do. Can we do it? Because if you have something to show us, an image, it really helps us to help you.
Right. Okay. So fireplaces, windows.
Yep. Roof.
Doors.
Doors. Oh, that's an awesome one. So in, again, the home that Aaron and Jess purchased, they had the mahogany doors, which everybody knows. They're just the plain, flat mahogany doors. Really not much detailing to it. They were all wood. So we decided to, right now it's not in the budget, we kept them, but what we're doing is we're actually adding a small piece of trim detailing to replicate like it is a panel door. So it's an inexpensive way to still keep what you have, but give it that more today feeling. So once you paint it, it will look like you have actually changed all your doors. So they did new door sets, new hinges, obviously. And in their case, they decided they wanted to go dark, so they went with the black. So you're going to have this incredible contrast between the white and the black, which is beautiful. Looks great.
Interesting.
Yeah. So instead of going stainless or brass, they've decided they wanted to go with a little more drama, which I agree with, because they have a very long hall. And with a long hall, the more interest you can create, the better. So to have that contrast of the black, it's going to become like eye candy.
Nice. I'm trying to picture it. Okay, so if you have solid wooden doors, you can probably do something with those. I mean,
you
at
can.
the cottage, I have those flimsy things that it's
the hollow core. Yeah,
they're
I know.
awful. You can't even hang
the door, and it goes.
And if you try and hang a hook on the back of the door,
no, you cannot do
that. It
that.
just falls out because there's just nothing in there. It's just hollow.
You cannot.
They are the worst pieces of garbage ever. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they are. So some of them, if you just simply want to update it, adding the trim is great because it will look like a more substantial door, but you still will not be able to put hooks and stuff on it. So you kind of have to decide what is the purpose? What do I want this door to do? To your point, in some bathrooms, it's really awkward to have a swing door. So why not consider doing a pocket door, because it's not going to take up any space physically. Right. So as you're going through each of the rooms, just kind of look at it and decide, okay, is this functional, not functional? Am I going to keep my door open? Am I going to close my door all the time? And that will help you to answer those questions for sure.
Okay,
which is great.
I have a listener who is asking, you're talking about doors.
Yes.
What can I do with the closet doors in all of my bedrooms? They open like a V. You know, those old doors from the 80s that kind of fold together when they open?
Oh, the bifold doors?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So bifold doors are a lot of problems because
the runners are getting old.
And they get out. They pop. Yeah. So a couple of different things. Again, if you're listening, I'd love to know if you're more modern or more traditional in your look. If you're more modern, there are lots of great looking doors where they might have a simple frame with a mirror on the inside, or just do closet doors that you would open, that would swing out, and you could obviously go in. in a lot of bedrooms, you don't always have the luxury to be able to open up a full closet door because you've got a bed or, something at the foot of a bed. So this is where the slider doors would be very important to research. And again, today, they have beautiful doors as opposed to the old glass ones that were kind of flimsy looking.
Yeah, she's worried about the carpet on the floor, she said.
Yeah, so she has carpet on the floor. So if she's doing a slider, they're going to put a new track in for her at the bottom. They'll put a new track in for her at the top. So it should hide what the ones she has now. So in her case, she wouldn't be able to do doors because then you're having to replace all the carpet. So great question. She's better off to stay with sliders where you're going to install the tracks.
Okay. And put just an upgrade to the existing doors.
Yeah, but no bifolds. Stay with just your sliding door. That'll move. So if you need to get into the right side, you slide it from right to left. If you need to get into the left side, you slide it from left to right.
Yeah. And get rid of those things. Is it possible to put in a pocket door in a case like that?
As long as you have lots of wall space on either side. Yeah, because your pocket door has to obviously recess into a wall, and it has to be, you have to have more space than the size of the door.
Right.
Right. So in some cases, probably you could. In other spots, I don't think so.
What do you think of those doors that I've seen a lot of now? They've got them at McKeck's. I'm looking at Jason because we both cottage in Haliburton. And they've taken away the regular door that was for this one particular room, and they can close it off with like a sliding barn door, and it's made with real barn slats.
Again, it's great.
It's beautiful.
It's great.
If you have the space.
Well, yeah, but a whole lot of other things come into play. Do you have trim going around your closet doors? Because if you have trim, well, now you have to build out a header because the doors have to clear the trim. That goes around the closet. So absolutely you can. You just want to be aware of what you are working with. And again, when it slides, you have to make sure you have space to slide it. So it's as simple as that.
Right. Because then you're going to have equal space of the door opening on the wall beside it to slide it over. And how does that track look? It doesn't often...
Oh, they have beautiful tracks.
Some of them are great.
Oh, yeah. No, they're expensive. Like if you want a really nice looking, whether it's stainless, they even have chrome, they have black, they have oil rubbed.
The black wrought iron that I saw was beautiful. Just stunning. Just stunning.
They are. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. To do a shout out to Nobleton Chiropractic. Kirsty has a chiropractic practice. We actually did the barn doors, and it looks unbelievable because it keeps her office space separate from where they live, but it looks great from both sides. So,
so they're doing a business in their home.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a big consideration, the business and the home thing. We should talk about that in the fall.
And more people are doing a space in the home where they can work from home. So that actually would be another thing to quickly bring up. Just make sure you have all the right kind of support, wires, cabling, if you are going to plan to do that. You don't want to be ripping out, and trying to channel through wires once everything's built. So, yeah.
Good thing to keep in mind while you're renovating. We're going to take a little break. You're listening to Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM. I'm your host, Bren Masson. We're talking with Jolana Pettifer this morning. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more reno tips right after this.
Claudio here with knowledgeflow.ca. If your family has been the victim of cybercrime, cyberbullying, or malicious privacy abuses, you're not alone. It's happening every day and sometimes carries tragic consequences, as we've seen in recent news. What's the solution? Don't internalize it. If it's an urgent issue, call the police immediately. If, however, you would like professional advice, you can confidentially email report@knowledgeflow.ca and get some ideas for dealing with social media, instant messaging, webcams, hacking, identity breaches, etc. Remember to visit knowledgeflow.ca on Facebook and potentially arrange a seminar for your community center, your school, or your Board of Education.
Hi folks, Kim Mitchell here. However you choose to get around, your ATV, your snowmobile, your boat, car, if you have a motorcycle, all these things take 100% of your attention and skill to operate safely. Alcohol impairs that, and bad things can happen. So, be smart, okay? You know what I'm going to say next.
This message brought to you from the Safe and Sober Awareness Committee.
Might as well go for a soda. Wow, that just woke me up. Okay. You're listening to Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM. And I'm your host, Bren Masson. We're talking with Jolana Pettifer. We've been talking about renovations. Mm-hmm. We did have a listener who called in and wanted to know about the basement.
Right.
They've moved into a 1980s home. The basement is unfinished. Should they bother finishing it?
Okay, so I think the way to answer that is, if they're asking, do they have a purpose for it? Like, do they want it to become a theater room? Do they want it to become an entertaining space? Do they want it to become a storage area? If again, they can sit down and figure out how do we want to use this space, it is always worth finishing. Like, even for a resale, a finished basement.
It does sell, doesn't it? Because it adds more space to the house.
And of course it does.
Those
and
creepy
especially
old
if you
basements.
have teenagers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they like to go and have their own space. So, to have that space available for when their friends come over, right. It's actually wonderful. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend it, but I also would say to them, make sure you know how that space is going to be used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of different ways to renovate a basement.
Yeah, of course
I've seen people turn it into a bar. I've seen other people turn it into
guest rooms, theater rooms, music rooms. Mm-hmm.
Just that extra space to go down and do your work. I've seen offices in the basement. Not that I would want my office in the basement, but there are people who put their offices in the basement.
Of course, they usually start out in a guest room. Mm-hmm. And then as family starts growing, it usually graduates down to
in the basement. I think is a good idea. That's just my personal opinion. Love you, honey. And you look so much better from down there. Anyway, okay, you wanted to get in a couple of other things before we end because goodness knows we just blow through an hour like nobody's business.
It goes so fast. So I would say the one last thing when you're renovating, most people have closets in their homes and most people will have the shelves with a rod, which is fine. But you can really utilize that space and have a purpose for it. So everything has a space and there's a space for everything. So do not forget about your closets, especially if you have very few closets, because even more reason to make sure that you utilize every square inch of the space that you have. So it's really important to get someone to help you with that. Don't just try and wing it. Really understand, like, how much long do I need? How much short do I need? Do I prefer drawers? Do I prefer shelving? Mm-hmm. Do I like to fold my clothes? Do I like to hang my clothes? Those are all really important.
Yeah,
shoe storage, purse storage.
Don't hang anything. Fold it in a nice little thing.
90% of the population will not fold a shirt after they've worn it. They just will not. So you have to know your personality.
Right.
But how am I going to use that?
A shelf? You open the closet and the door slides back and there you have all of these little cubby hole shelves. And we all know that the thing that gets pushed to the back of the shelf you never use. If you're trying to find something, you got to take down every single sweater or, pull out one pair of underwear and the whole thing comes down. So what do you do with this?
To answer this clearly and simply is this. If you are not handy in any way, shape, or form, you are not going to attempt to do it yourself. Mm-hmm. If you are handy, you could go to the Home Depots, you can go to the Richelieu website, and you can actually purchase the hardware that you would need to add a shelf to an existing space. So obviously you have to know what you're doing, because as soon as you put the side rail in, you know that your drawer has to be small enough to clear it, so that when you're opening and closing it, there's no issues. But it can be done. So definitely, if you've already got an existing closet and you just want to change it up, it can be done. Just make sure you get someone who does know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Can you say Jack when you say that? just saying. Poor Jack. Now he's in the basement, and now we're telling him not to do the shelves and the master.
It's okay. Good news, Jack. There's someone out there that can do it.
Right. Jack is a whiz with computers, and
absolutely.
He has his
You know
niche.
what? We all have our fortes,
exactly.
right? So why do something? Because half the time you go to do it, you spend way longer than you should, and then at the end of the day, if it's not perfectly level, that drawer is not going to be working.
It's not,
So just
And we have a very odd house, when you look at some of the angles of the walls, you think,
I love your house. I wouldn't call it odd.
It is, well, it's different.
I love it. It's very unique.
You have a cupboard with shelves, and you think, I'll just put something in there that'll pull out, even a box.
You can't
because the wall is on an angle, and you have nowhere to pull it to.
No.
So it gets a bit tricky with some of our closets, but some of them you can work with, so... why
and I would say where it's really tricky, that's where I might say to you, consider putting your shoe boxes there or your purses there, like things that
you don't need to take out the whole thing.
Every single day, things that you're going to switch up on occasion. So again, just really think about how you want to use your space.
Right. Right. And change your idea of cleaning. You don't need another dresser. Perhaps you need to get rid of those bright yellow sweatpants.
You know what? Less is more, right? I think it's just, again, in our era now, the less we need to worry about coming home to clean or to move or to shift around, the better. Like even when we're putting our rooms together, like a bedroom, have a master bedroom with a beautiful bed and a gorgeous headboard, a couple of nightstands, maybe a dresser. You don't have to have the high boys and the bachelor chests. This is, if you do your closets the right way, you don't need all that extra furniture. So again, less is more, and do go through your closets periodically. Some of us are way better than others of being able to give away things, and just know the Karen Chair here in Stouffville is always so gracious to accept clothing and gently used items.
And that's a great place to find some accent pieces when you're decorating, is to go to these places. The place up in Halliburton where my friend found a dresser, and I said to her, like the second last thing you need is a dresser. She said, no, I'm cutting the top out. This will be my vanity in the bathroom. Just putting a sink in the top.
You just have to think outside the box, right?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I have to mention this because it was so interesting. I went to the George Jonas Freedom Award Gala on Friday night in downtown. Well, it wasn't really downtown. It was the old Eglinton Theater.
Oh, wow.
On Eglinton Avenue West.
Yeah,
I know
exactly where you are.
Okay, because all of us have probably at one time or another been to that theater to see a movie back in the day.
Yeah.
They have renovated it and turned it into like a banquet facility with a stage, but it has the original curtains. Those beautiful.
Gorgeous. Red?
Dark,
what color are those
burgundy,
ones? Burgundy,
yeah. Gorgeous.
I remember,
and the quality of those. They've taken the gargoyles that used to sit in the corners and they've brought them forward from the wall to accent the stage on platforms. And things that I think we all noticed that they were there. It was something you glanced at but never really took too much notice of. They're beautiful.
Yep. Making old new again, right? It's
the balcony is still a balcony, but it's all modern. So it's very flat floors, and they've made it 2 levels of the balcony, open spaces. There's a bar up there so that when people come into the theater before dinner, there is a curtain that runs across, so you've got this curtain feel. They have 2 old popcorn machines. So when you arrive for a banquet, it smells like an old theater with the popcorn. In the bathroom, they kept 2 of the vanities.
Yeah.
And they've changed it. It used to be stall after stall after stall because it was a movie theater. So they've now got the powder room area.
Yes.
They've done the whole wall in mirror, but they used the framing that's all the old baseboards from the theater.
Oh, fun.
Because we had a lady, I mentioned how beautiful it was, and it just happened to be one of the people who works at the facility as opposed to who was working with the awards ceremony. And so she took a couple of us around and showed us the things that they kept from the original and that they've updated. Awesome. And, I mean, ladies, there's nothing better than a floor-to-ceiling mirror in a bathroom.
It's true.
And then on the side is the original little vanity with the wood. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. What a great place for an award gala of that nature. And I'd say if anyone's getting married, it'd be a fabulous place to have a wedding.
Great venue.
They announced dinner by rolling back the curtains when you're on the balcony, and everybody was on the balcony. So we're talking, there were 200 plus people on that balcony with the 2 levels of the balcony.
Yes.
Talking, having drinks, little appetizers being passed around. And when dinner was on, there was no ding, ding, dinner. it was the curtains opened, and before you was the beautiful gala area, all decked out with the fine china and everything. It was stunning.
I bet. Did you take pictures?
Stunning. I didn't, and I should have.
I was going to say,
you know what? You only have so many hands for your wine, your little appetizer, your napkin, which always gets spread between your baby finger and the fourth finger, and then the program that's stuffed underneath your arm, and you're all decked out in your good duds. And yeah, it was a fabulous evening, though. We will definitely be speaking to some people from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, because they're a very, very interesting group. And besides the fact that they had a fantastic gala, they also do some amazing work. Christy Blatchford was the keynote speaker and the award winner of the George Jonas Freedom Award this year. So it was wonderful to meet her too. She was just fantastic. Did she ever have a good talk? She's a very funny lady.
She is very funny. Very knowledgeable, beyond knowledgeable, and her life experiences are just tremendous.
Yeah, she researches the heck out of everything she does, and she's really speaking from a place of knowledge. Like her opinion or not, at least admire the fact that the work has been done, and there's no fake news there at all.
Agreed.
Nothing fake about that woman. Anyway, Jolana, as usual, it's been wonderful.
So sad.
We're
already at that. I don't know how that happens. We're going to have to
go down and check out that theater, because I know you'd really
I would
love
it.
To.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just such an amazing place. Okay, great.
We will go and take pictures.
We will take pictures, and then we'll have a little chat about it so that we can tell our listeners all the fun things you can do. And go out. It's one thing to sit down and go on the computer. Yeah. It's another thing completely to get out into the world and actually see some of the things that are in pictures. Right?
Do you know what? I love, this is going to make me sound a little geeky maybe, but I love doors. I love windows.
There's a Museum of Doors in Geneva. I go there every time I go to Geneva because it's fascinating.
Yes, I love it because people express themselves through the colors, the styles of doors, and honestly, I just love it.
Remember Terry's house at Vandorf and
the green
Kennedy?
And
then she changed into red. The red door.
I do remember.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. All right, everybody. If you have any questions for Jolana, please feel free to contact us on our Facebook page. Jay, can you tell people how to get a hold of us?
Yes, we're on Facebook, Freshwaves on Whistle FM. Just give us a like there. You can also contact us on Twitter at Freshwaves Radio.
Perfect. And Jolana, how do people get a hold of you?
You can call us at the studio at 905-888-5225, or you can email us with any questions you may have at jolana@bellnet.ca.
And don't forget to tell Jolana that you heard her on the show here on Fresh Waves, and she'll be sure to treat you extra special.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming in today, Jolana. As always,
it was
a pleasure.
Wonderful. And, thank you, Jay.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We look forward to seeing you again in July.
Yes. Can't wait.